Alright, time for some homework help. I'm going to help you with 1, 4, and 6. And I think the trickiest part of this homework is making sure you follow all directions. Alright, so in number 1, there are 3 directions, 3 things you have to do when I read it. So I will highlight them as I read the directions. It says use words. Oops, that's not highlighter. Use words and symbols to describe the value of each term as a function of its position. Then find the value of the 12th term in the sequence. Alright, so we have to come up with words and symbols. The first thing I want to do is figure out what happens to the position number to get the term. So when I'm checking from 3 to 12, there's two things I could check first. First is I check multiplication. So 3 times 4 is 12. So then I'm going to see if that works for this one. 4 times 4 is 16. So the times 4 rule doesn't work. So now I'm going to check addition. I see 3 plus 9 is 12. 4 plus 9 is 13, 5 plus 9 is 14. So I found my rule that I'm adding 9 to the position number. So now I like to write that here too. So I like to write the plus 9 for each one, especially for the symbol here, because that's going to help me for part of my answer. So as far as words, you just have to tell me when it says what's happening to the position number to get the term. So I'm going to say you add 9 to the position number to get the value of the term. So I'm going to write that down. Let me pause it so you don't have to watch me write. Okay, so I have the words written down. Add 9 to each position number to get the term. Now the next part says symbols. So remember, symbols are supposed to be a shortcut for words. Now remember right here where I wrote down n plus 9? Well, that's going to be my symbol. So I'm just going to write down for symbols n plus 9. So 2 of the 3 things are done. Now the last thing to do is it says find the value of the 12th term in the sequence. So if you can imagine, if this table continued, if this were 12 and I added 9, 12 plus 9 would be 21. So the 12th term is 21. Alright, so that's how you do number 1. You have to do all 3 of those things. Now let's go down to number 4. It says, the table shows the amount it costs to rock climb at an indoor rock climbing facility based on the number of hours. What is the rule to find the amount charged to rock climb for X hours? So I'm going to show you how to look at this rule in the table. And this is a little more complicated rule. So I'm looking to see what happens to the time, remember they're hours, to get the amount. So I'm looking for the rule this way. So I'm going to start with multiplication. I know 1 times 13 is 13, but 2 times 13 is 26, so it's not multiplication. Then I'm going to try addition. 1 plus 12 is 13, 2 plus 12 is 2 plus 12 is 14, so it's not going to be plus 12. So when it's not simple multiplication or addition, we have to go to one of those 2 steppers, and these take a little bit of practice. So this means it's going to be x times something, and then you're going to have to add or subtract to get the rest of it. So to find what you're multiplying by, look at what the amount goes up by when you're going down. So 13 to 21 is plus 8. 21 to 29 is plus 8. 29 to 37 is plus 8. So that gives me my first part of my rule, which is going to be 8 times x. So remember, I got the 8 times x to see what the numbers were skip counting going down the amounts, and they're skip counting by 8. But that's only half of the rule. So when I multiply each x value by 8, I'll write them kind of in between. So 1 times 8 is 8, 2 times 8 is 16, 3 times 8 is 24, and 4 times 8 is 32. But now I have to figure out the second part of the rule, and let's look at these numbers that I just wrote down. To go from 8 to 13, I have to add 5. So 8 plus 5 is 13. 16 plus 5 is 21. 24 plus 5 is 29. And 32 plus 5 is 37. So the second part of my rule is going to be plus 5. So my rule is multiply x by 8 and then add 5. I don't have to write that in words. Symbols is fine. So we have our rule. Now it says, what is the rule to find the amount charged to rock climb for X hours? Well, if you just write the rule in symbols, that is the rule for x hours. Times 8 plus 5. All right, last one I'm going to help you with is number 6. Now, this one also has more than one direction, so make sure you get both of them. It says determine how the next term in each sequence can be found. Then, find the next two terms in the sequence. So first off, I'm going to be checking out my sequence to see what's going on here. I see some lousy decimals, and it's not going to be multiplication because it's kind of going up by the same amount each time. So a good trick is to kind of get your calculator and subtract 8.7 minus 6.3, 6.3 minus 3.9, and 3.9 minus 1.5. If you do that, you'll notice that you get 2.4 for each one. Now that's going to help me with my rule, because if I were to write it here, 1.5 plus 2.4 gets me 3.9. Add 2.4, I'll get 6.3. Add 2.4, I'll get 8.7. So use your calculator to figure some of these complicated ones out. So the first part of the direction said determine how to get the next term. So I'm just going to say I would add 2.4. That's all I need to write for that part. But then it says find the next two terms in the sequence. So you can use your calculator, remember. If I were to take 8.7 and add 2.4, I would get 11.1. So that's my first number there. Then I have to add 2.4 to that. And if you add 2.4 to 11.1, you'll get 13.5. Okay, so I followed both directions. Alright, so I helped you with 1, 4, and 6. Hopefully you can do the rest. If you need any more help, make sure you ask me tomorrow. Thanks.